LoreWarrior Aerotech, the Mammoth class dropship. The Mammoth is the largest dropship capable of landing on a planet's surface. The bullet-shaped vessel masses 52,000 tons, and its cavernous cargo bays are capable of carrying over 40,000 tons. Because of its high operation costs and maintenance costs, this vessel is economically feasible to use only on scheduled runs between high trade systems. Nevertheless, the ship provides the mainstay for bulk cargo transportation between the large industrial worlds of the inner sphere. The Mammoth's proportions are truly enormous. It's over 5 times the size of the Overlord dropship. If it were to be loaded solely with mechs, it could carry over 7 battalions worth, totaling 252. The ship's primary purpose, however, is to transport mass quantities of bulk goods between planets, and for this purpose, the ship has 5 large cargo decks, each being capable of supporting roughly 8,000 tons of cargo and its equipment. Running from the top cargo deck to the bottom deck are 2 cargo elevators that each measure 30 meters square and capable of lifting 400 tons each. The bottom deck contains 2 large doors for loading and unloading cargo. In a compartment next to the elevators is a pair of industrial exoskeletons. The models normally aboard the Mammoth are powered by batteries, which are then recharged through a coupling located in the compartment to help them maneuver in zero-G. These machines are also equipped with a small thruster that uses short bursts of compressed gas. On the second cargo deck are 4 airlocks that are used for transferring cargo while the ship's in space. The airlocks are so large that 2 full-size shuttles can fit inside. In fact, they're sometimes used as small craft launch and recovery bays. The Mammoth's engine configuration also sets it apart from other dropships. Instead of having a single central drive, as do most spheroid ships, the massive Mammoth mounts engines in huge pods attached to its hull by strong struts. Combined, the drives constitute about 20% of the ship's mass. The engine arrangement is even more unusual because the drives can be detached from the rest of the ship. Activating a set of explosive bolts will sever the connections between a drive pod and the main fuselage. If a pod ever overloads or otherwise endangers the ship, it can be jettisoned. If one drive pod is jettisoned or shut down, however, the other pod must now shut down as well, otherwise the thrust imbalance will throw the ship into an uncontrollable spin, tearing it apart and crushing the crew against the walls. Each drive pod is equipped with a small control room where a crew member can operate the pod as a separate vessel. However, this isn't recommended for 2 reasons. First, once the pod has been detached, it's extremely difficult and costly to rejoin them. Second, the engine pod has no attitude control or navigation systems, making landing impossible and spaceflight tremendously difficult. Many vessels have access to the pod's control centers sealed or have had the control centers deactivated because the engine pods are located where most ships have their landing gear. The Mammoth has a large, flat, well-cushioned bottom section that serves as a landing foot. Although the ship is designed to land only on level, reinforced surfaces, a set of hydraulic lifts do adjust for uneven ground. The Mammoth's upper deck contains 30 double occupancy rooms for the crew and 8 single occupancy rooms for the captain and ranking officers. Each double occupancy room contains a double bunk, a table, 2 chairs, a pair of large lockers, and a washroom. The officers' quarters contain similar arrangements but are designed for single occupants. Ironically, the tremendous size of the ship, the crew accommodations are rather small and quite simple. The Mammoth is rather uncommon, as its well-populated systems are the only areas that you will see one. Because of its astronomical operating and maintenance costs, few Mammoths are independently owned. Large corporations and multi-system governments need high-capacity service between component worlds own most of these ships. The armies of the successor states employ a few of them to carry hydrogen fuel. The Mammoth's greatest problem, though, is a lack of spare parts. In fact, many of the vessels are actually running on scavenged parts. So yes, the massive Mammoth-class dropship. A 52,000-tonner, as it says, spheroid class. It's 170.6 meters high and 277 meters wide in diameter, basically. It has a crew of 35, cargo complement of 40,110 ton. It's armed with 3 large lasers, 4 medium lasers, and 2 small lasers. Its drive system is the Balitech Super X40, and was introduced originally in 2808. It's considered to be an uncommon sighting. It has a thrust of 3, overthrust of 5, the same as the Monarch class prior. Its armour is 50 on the nose, 30 on the sides, 110 on the fuselage, and 20 on the engine. There's a large laser located in the nose, no side weaponry, but the rear sides have a single large and 2 medium lasers, and the aft section has 2 small. So, yeah, very lightly armed, but that's not surprising, considering the ship isn't ever really meant to probably get into any combat anyway. It's a spud of a vessel, but again, it's just meant to be big and carry a lot of cargo, so that makes sense. In fact, many people will have been running around a Mammoth class without realising it in games like MWO, because the ring on the desert planet, I forget the name of the map now, it's been so long, but the massive ring that sticks out the ground, that is the sort of the diameter ring of the Mammoth class. Or part of it, at least, sticking out of the ground. I'm not sure if the scale is completely correct, considering it says that 252 mechs can stand inside one of these things, or maybe be stacked on top of each other. I don't know how it works. Lying down in some kind of casing, I don't know how it would work, but yeah, it gives you an idea that the ship is massive. It doesn't state specifically if it was just all mechs of all different tonnages, because I imagine 252 Atlas would be very different from 252 Locusts, for instance. So I don't know if the number is exactly right. I guess maybe based on average battalion being a mix of light, medium, heavy, and assaults, it would be that 7 times over? I don't know. Either way, it's a lot of space and a lot of carry capacity anyway. Obviously, an incredibly important vessel for the trade and economic lifeblood of most of the major systems in the Inner Sphere. It says that these are for successor states and such, but I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them are still hovering around in some areas of the periphery. At most, maybe the larger periphery states would have a handful, spread amongst the systems. I could see the Outworlds Alliance probably having a few of them for transport of massive amounts of, obviously, harvested goods, like wheat and grain and rice and all that kind of stuff. While I could see the Taurians probably using them for a few of their industrial planets. The same with the Canopians. I wouldn't be surprised if even the Cercinus Confederation have probably got a couple, or at least one that's probably modified for some nefarious purpose regarding probably transporting mass number of slaves, that kind of thing. To be saying also the same said for the Marians as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they would have one for that kind of purpose. Yeah, a bit dark, but hey, that's BattleTech. Anyway, that's a Mammoth class. Thanks for listening. As always, I'll catch you on the next one, and have a good week. Bye bye.